Hello everybody, ciao a tutti and welcome to Art with Ms.B. Today we're going to spend some time together in improving our drawing skill. Today I will present to you a couple of practices to teach you how to draw nice, simple and yet beautiful and effective flowers. I will do two different designs. The first one is a little more basic, the second one is a little more improved, but they are both very easy to follow and you can compare and contrast the practice at the very end. I will use a black Sharpie so viewers can see the lines very well, but I suggest you to do the practice with a pencil and in a second time do the outline with the Sharpies. I will also use markers to speed up a little bit the coloring sessions, but if you want to use and indulge in a little longer practice and use coloring pencil, go ahead and do it. Coloring pencil give us the opportunity to blend, mix and work a little bit more on value, which is the dark and the light in a drawing, the shadow basically and the light. But even with markers, I will teach you a couple of different strokes and overlapping different colors that can give you the optical illusion of an implied texture and a little bit of value. I'm gonna switch the camera so we can start. Okay, this is my art journal, and as I say, I'm gonna use a black Sharpie, and today I'm gonna use probably also an extra fine for the texture. I suggest you to do it with a pencil and then introduce the black Sharpie at the very end or before coloring. So let's start with our first simple flower. So these flowers will help you. We start with they will help you for different practices. So we start with the little center of the flower, which we're gonna do like a kind of a nice oval, a little bit in the diagonal. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle, so go ahead and do this nice diagonal oval. Then look carefully what I do for the petals. I'm gonna start to add the petals over here. I'm gonna start going very slow. Go slow with your hands, curve, and bring the petal up again. Let's go for our second one. Slow down, almost same size, and bring it up again. We're gonna go for a third one, more or less the same size, slow back up. Now, because we have to go around, we're gonna twist and play a little bit with the position of the petal. So we're gonna come back here, we're gonna start this petal, we're gonna do it a little shorter and smaller than this one. And we bring it back in the circle. The same, we're gonna do it over here. We're gonna leave some space, do it like on a diagonal, shorter, and bring it back. Now we're gonna do the petals in the background, and this one will be way shorter and different shape than the one on the front. So they can give this idea of three-dimensionality. So you're gonna go with first and small. The back one will be extremely small because we cannot see the whole petal behind. And this one, something like that. Now we're gonna add the stem of the flower that comes from the bottom, as long as you want to make it, and we can complement the flower with the nice beautiful leaves. Start with the line in the center, then you will do the top and the bottom a little larger than the top of the leaves. So you're gonna have this nice three-dimensional effect. Now, sometimes flowers come with different shape of petal, different directions. So we're gonna do the second type of flower, pretending that this flower instead is pointing up. So this time we're gonna start from the stem and not from the center. So we're gonna I'm gonna put it over here. We are going to come up with a nice natural line. We're gonna come up with a parallel line that will define the stem of our flower. And you have it. We're gonna do the leaf at the end. We're gonna do the bottom of the flower, nice and undulated line, to basically set the directions of where our flowers will look toward. Now for the petal, instead to do this simple basic, we're gonna kind of do some nice pattern at the top of the petal. So look, for the first one, we go up, curve it a couple of times and back down. We're gonna do another one like this. It could be a little different this time. They don't want to look all the same, so we kind of create some variety and we make our flower looks a little more realistic. Now we keep going. One more. They look similar, you see, but not all the same. Now we're gonna add some nice petal behind those, right? So you can just do, basically repeat what you did for the top of this petal, here and here, and this will be the center of the flower. You can do like nice little, you know, something to indicate that is the center. Now the leaves, we're gonna put it over here. So always start from the line in the center, and this time maybe we can do a nice undulated line like that. Now, with the extra fine Sharpie, you can do this with a pencil, and then at the end with the Sharpie, we're going to kind of add a few more nice details that will enrich our drawing and will make it look better, improved, a little more realistic, right? And it will give you also the opportunity to create a little more optical illusion of texture that we call implied texture, and it's definitely gonna be way better to see. Even in the petal, you can kind of add. This one is like don't add any pressure. You will just go very quickly, no pressure at all, which means that you're not gonna push the marker or the pencil on the paper at all. Of course, follow the size and the shape of the petal. Here, maybe we can do a little more segmented type of lines. Look what I do. You press, and you will do this with a pencil first, and then you can go over with a Sharpie. The secret is that you go without thinking and overthinking too much, but don't push hard with the markers on the paper. Yes, on the paper, sorry. Really like very sketchy, broken lines. And look, you can do something like this also on the stem to add a little implied texture, right? Super, super gentle. This I say, try with a pencil so you can exercise the right pressure that you want to apply. And remember that we're gonna go very soft, not too hard. The pressure is very important. So let's start the coloring. I'm gonna use markers. As I say, you can use markers, any markers that you have available, or you can use coloring pencil. If you're using coloring pencil, you can blend and mix more. It's gonna take a little longer, the coloring. If you're using marker, proceed slowly, as I am doing, not scribble, not pressing hard, and maybe try to find like a nice way, a nice technique that works for you when you don't get tired, but you can do a beautiful, neat coloring with markers without scribbles, without gaps, without seeing too many strokes. Also, if you did the whole thing with the markers, with the pencil at the beginning, now you're coloring your lines with the pencil, you can go over them, but you will still be able to see them. And then you will retrieve them, which means that you will go over with this black Sharpie or any brand that you have available. One a little thicker, and the other one for the implied texture and smaller details, we're gonna use the extra fine tip. If you only have the extra fine, you can definitely use it for both. And it will give you a very nice and delicate result because the outlines will be thinner than this one. So I'm going to use a couple of different green, and I'm gonna show you that if you overlap markers, not exactly like you would do with a pencil, but it will show you a difference in color. So if you don't have to, you can overlap a lighter green on top of a darker, or a darker on top of the light green, or a yellow on top of your green, and it will alter the effect of the green. I'm gonna do it like that along the veins of the leaves. So we create a little nice value even with markers. Now let's color the flower. I'm gonna use a nice dark yellow. You can use any color that you wish. You can go darker with a brownish orange. Nice and neat. And maybe for the petals, I don't know, I have a little violet available. Use your favorite color. We're gonna go nice and slow. We're gonna really repeat and review this nice technique of avoiding super fast strokes that will tire your hands, will tire the marker, the ink won't show nicely, and unfortunately you will see too many strokes. So try to follow me in this technique and you will see a huge improvement in coloring with markers. Tiny little petal in the end. If you prefer that you feel more comfortable, you can kind of outline and frame the space that you have to color with the marker. So you're gonna make sure that you don't go outside the lines. Mostly if you still don't have the black done with markers, because you wanna do the Sharpie at the end, just make sure that you kind of outline the area and then you color inside. Even here, I finish with this color, and I'm using like a little different type of pink. You can do that with another color. You can do a darker purple, and I'm just going a little bit on top along these lines to increase the texture and add another color that makes my flower look prettier. There you go. Now let's color our second flowers. For this one, I'm gonna choose a different kind of green. Once again, you do you. Use the green that you have available, and remember, you can mix a dark green with light green, dark green with some light blue for having a sort of a turquoise green. You can mix the yellow on top of the green, a little bit of brown. So make sure that you feel free to do some experiment, because it's through experimentation that we learn what we like, what we want to do differently, right? And if we, sometimes through the experiments is when we come up with the most beautiful, right, and surprising thing. So even if you're using markers, feel free to try something. Now, after we did this beautiful, nice and neat coloring, I'm gonna use the dark green that I used to color these other flowers to kind of add some texture along. Basically, I can go along the tiny little strokes that I added before with the Sharpie. I can go along the veins of the leaf. And one side, the other side, and it's already prettier. Now, let's see what can we do for the petals. For the petals, I like a warm color, so maybe I'm gonna use this kind of a orange, brownish. Yes, nice and warm. Feel free to use your favorite colors. You can use really technically any color. We are doing just a couple of generic flowers that can be adapted in many different still life, landscapes, or floral design that you will be able to create after you build a strong foundation in drawing. And if you notice, it's just a matter of following the right steps and what to do first and what to do last, paying attention to the movement of your hand on the paper. Avoid to go too fast and do not press hard with the pencil on your paper. I could not stress this concept enough. Now for this one on the back, let's see if I can find something similar, maybe just a little lighter. This might be a little too light, so I'm gonna go over then with a darker color. But with this light though, I'm gonna actually add some nice shading on the front petals. And with this one that was the darkest color that I used for the petals before, I'm going to go over the lighter petal on the back. So even with markers, we know now that we can do some mixing and overlapping, and we can create some variety and variation in colors. So these are the two flowers, and they are both very pretty. And as I say, you can include them now, from now on, in every landscape, still life, and floral design. So it's a little improved type of flowers. I hope you enjoy, and I see you very soon for another tutorial.